All right, welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. We are in the middle of a pretty big utility renovation here on the farm and in the little house here. We have already done a lot of the demolition and tear apart and moving things around work, and now I'm trying to get the furnace installed. Got a lot of ductwork and things to deal with in the attic, insulating ductwork and removing some ductwork and fixing stuff and adding new heat runs and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get up into the attic today. So I have taken apart a lot of the ductwork in the attic. The furnace used to sit here, of course, and all the ductwork used to go up into the attic through that hole and then run all the way through the attic, the other end of the house. Well, we don't need that anymore. And so we're going to cap off that ductwork. I've removed a lot of it. We're going to remove some more today. We're going to cap it off, insulate it, and then redo some of the heat run connections. So I've made these end caps. Pretty simple to do with just a piece of sheet metal. I'm used to using the old ductwork that I took out, extra pieces, and cutting out the sheet metal that I need. But these end caps are pretty easy to make. You just cut your square about 2 inches bigger on each side than the size of the ductwork that you want to cap off. And then you fold a 1 inch straight fold the long side of the duct, and then the drive cleat is going to go on the edge here. So it's also a 1 inch fold with like a 3/8 fold back. Try to show you in the attic how that goes together. They're pretty easy to make, and I've already saved the amount of money just buying 2 of these end caps from a supplier or Home Depot or something like that. I've already saved enough money to purchase the tool that you need to do this. So we'll get up in the attic and get this put together. But just wait until you see what I have found up in this attic since I've been up here working. So this is the job site for the day. I've got my sweet LED work light up here. This attic space is just such a depressant for me whenever I come work up here, because there's just so much work that needs to be done. The furnace ductwork used to come up right back in this area and then ran the length. You can see it connected up over here, and then the return air duct connected there. And all of this ductwork is completely uninsulated, so not insulated at all the way through the attic. So this attic space is generally the same temperature as outside. I mean, maybe a few degrees warmer, maybe 5-10 degrees warmer. So if it's 10 degrees outside, it's 20 up here. And so it was trying to blow, all the hot air through 20-degree attic, and then sucking all the return air, trying to heat 20-degree air. And obviously that just didn't work very well. So we're moving everything out of here. So this return air duct, I'm going to take a lot of this out. There's no returns on this end of the house right now, and I plan to fix that later, but I don't need all the duct running the whole length of the attic. So I'm going to back this up to the smaller size where that reducer is in there. So we'll take all the larger duct off and then go and we'll end cap it up there. And then the same with the supply. I'm going to cap it off right there. I'm going to take that reducer off, cap it off right there, and then I'm going to add some supplies to the top and then run this insulated flex up here. But the thing that was concerning to me the most was this stuff. This is the line, I'm pretty sure, that feeds the entire other half of the house. This is an electrical line. It's a real thick, I don't know what gauge wire that is, but it goes and feeds the 50 amp panel, sub panel, down in the tri-level in the basement part. And I don't know how it is connected up here. 2 different gauge wires, 2 different kinds of wire, probably wire nutted together and just wrapped in a bunch of tape. I don't have to say that that's not code. Everything has to be in a junction box. And let's get in here a little bit further. There's an enormous amount of wire up here that I don't even know what it goes to, but here's a good one. There's another. So we've got what, 12 wire here going into splitting to 2 14s. So I'm assuming, I mean, it might be stupid to assume this, but I'm assuming that this is on a 15 amp breaker, so if that's the case, at least the difference in wire isn't a big issue. But look at that connection, that's fancy. This is just unbelievable stuff. Like, I mean, so we're in a junction box here. I'm not even sure what to touch. I'm afraid I'm gonna get shocked, so I try not to touch too many wires up here. But you know, this is just crazy. I don't know, this is just extra wire. And then there's some junction boxes here, and this looks like maybe older wire, and I'm assuming that these are not hot, but I don't really know. I'm not sure if they're cut off or not. These wires are cut, and there's just wire hanging from the ceiling. There's wires draped over everything. Some more wires that are just taped off. I'm not sure what they go to or went to. This is the stuff that you have to be careful when you move into a house. If you're doing any electrical, never trust that the person before you did it right. And you know, this 20 amp line here, this 12 wire could be running back to the panel, and I could go into that panel and see, oh, there's 12 wire, so I'll go ahead and put a 20 amp breaker on that, or I'm going to change this around and move this or do that, change circuits or something, and then you end up, you know, not thinking that a person would run that and then splice it like this into something like that, and then you end up, you have a fire hazard right here. This wire becomes your fuse. And if you were ever to pull more than 15 amps on, you know, one of these lines, or between both of them or something, you know, you end up starting this on fire. You know, this stuff melts down up here. And so you just have to be really careful, and just never assume anything. Here's another connection with, it looks like it's actually cut. Got 12 wire and 14 wire connected together. Here's another one. At least that's the same kind of wire, duct tape together, or electrical tape together. You know, I'm just not sure what to touch. There's a oh my gosh. There's a box in here, right there. There's a box in here with any number of wires going into it. Who knows what we'd find in here. This is going to take me forever. It feels like, you know, once I get the heating and cooling done, and the water heater and the utilities, and fix the bathrooms and all that stuff, you know, I'd like to start fixing these circuits, you know, one room at a time that I renovate. I'm going to pull all new wires. I'm going to tear all the wires out. I'm going to start over. I'm going to figure out what is going to what, trace stuff down. But, you know, wrap my head around it all at once. I can't go through and just do this all at once. You have to break it down into little parts, or else you just want to, you know, light the whole place on fire and get out of here. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get this, the end caps on this ductwork here, and we'll show you what we've got with that. You can see that duct back there, that's the supply duct. I want to keep that, but it looks like it has collapsed. So I'm going to try to fix it, and I'm just going to, I don't know if I can wrap it or cover it or blanket it in insulation. I've got some duct wrap I can try to use. I just need to, I don't know if I can get under it or not, but just need to try to cover that up as much as I can, and cut in a few new heating takeoffs for the heat runs that were up here. So Don't break anything. There's nails sticking out of the roof. So this is all caved in, so I ran a screw in it so I could get the channel locks on and pop it up. And interestingly, they had to have climbed in here at some point and saw this all caved in, and there was a couple of gaps because it had bent. So there was a big gap right here and then on the corners, and they spray foamed they spray foamed it shut. But the duct was completely collapsed, so there's no way, I don't know how any airflow was even getting past anything here. Unbelievable. Got all the flexible duct connected there, and there, except for this one. I'm actually a little bit short, so I need to go buy some more. Last thing I want to do is wrap that that duct back there. That's the return air duct that I capped off. Now I've got some loose insulation that I'll pile on top of the ductwork here, layer over it, because there's just no way I'll be able to wrap that duct. I can't get under it or around it or anything, so we'll just have to cover it as best as possible and make a blanket for it. It's insulated. I'm going to add a couple returns into some of the bedrooms, and I'll peel back the insulation and connect to it at that time. But right now I just want to make sure that it's not just, you know, a bunch of cold air that's just dumping into the house. Well, everything's all covered. The open face insulation, I ran a little bit short on it, so I'm going to get another couple pieces to plug some gaps and tie up the end of this a little bit better. But all the insulated flex is all connected, and the return is all insulated. So this is the first time that this ductwork has ever been properly insulated up here, so I'm happy about that. We still got a long way to go on this project, but we're making progress. It has been a long day up here in the attic. I've been up here pretty much the entire day, minus a lunch break. But this has been weighing on me, getting this done for a very long time. There's so much to do up here. Every time I get up here and see all those wires and see all the mess up here, it just drags me down. So, but once I get one little bit accomplished, it feels good. It feels good to make those get those little wins in and move forward. So, lots more renovation to come. Installing the furnace downstairs, custom ductwork. We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff with that, and getting that. We still have the water heater to install and all that piping to redo. And so one little bit at a time here, we're getting this stuff done. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video. What do you think of this mess? It's something else, isn't it? Love to have you subscribe, of course, if this is your first time to the SSL Family Dad channel. Lots of DIY projects and farming and gardening and all kinds of things. I'd love to have you follow along. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.